Flosstube, I'm Pam. Welcome to my channel. I'm stitching in the land of good enough. You probably already know the name of my channel since you're here. Anyway, today is Monday, April 5th, and it's Flosstube number 25. Flosstube number 25, and it's Monday. I know I already said it was Monday, but when I told you in the last video that I was going to be back on Monday, I wasn't really sure that was going to happen, but here I am. It's Monday. It worked. A big thank you to my returning viewers. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. And if you're new here, welcome. I hope you decide to stay a while. I hope you like what you see. And again, a huge thank you to everyone who likes my videos, and especially if you comment. You don't have to comment. I don't always comment on everybody's video. Mostly because I watch Flosstube on my laptop, and then my stitching is in my lap. And then in order to comment, I have to like get my stitching off my lap and drag my laptop onto my lap. And it's a thing. I don't always remember to do it. But for those who comment, I appreciate it, because I know sometimes it's a struggle to make that happen. And thank you to all my subscribers. What do we talk about here? We talk about cross stitch mostly, a little bit of life updates, sometimes knitting, not lately. So mostly cross stitch. Yeah. Also, if you're new to cross stitch or new to Flosstube, oh, my ponytail is so tight, it's giving me a headache. Sorry. I have a glossary in the description box below, because I know we use a lot of acronyms and terminology that sometimes only makes sense to us. So if you're new and you don't know what I'm talking about, I will probably not remember to explain what I'm talking about. So know that you can find all of the things in the description box. And if it's not there, shoot me a comment and I will answer your question and add it to my glossary. Okay, a couple of administrative things I wanted to chat about. I mean, I guess that was some administrative things. But anyway, some more administrative things I'd like to chat about before we get into my my stitching. I said last time that I plan on doing a Hawk Run Hollow stitch together on Zoom. And so today is the day that I'm going to have the sign up for that. It won't be the only day that you can sign up. The link will be there. So here's the idea behind it. I am stitching on A Year at Hawk Run Hollow by Carriage House Samplings, and there are a bunch of other Hawk Run Hollow projects. And I know a few of you had some in your WIP pile. WIP means work in progress. And some of you thought, ooh, this is a great opportunity. Sorry, sometimes I talk faster than my brain. A good opportunity to start one. So what I thought, because I really need to make some progress on mine, is that I'm going to start with once a month. Once a month we can get together on Zoom or Google Meet. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use yet. I'm leaning towards Google Meet only because I can do that myself, but for Zoom, I have to use my husband's account, his work account. So it's easier. Sorry, my ponytail is too tight. It's giving me a headache. I should go grab Tylenol. All right, we're gonna power through. I probably could just take my hair out of the ponytail, but I try to only wash my hair every other day, and this is day 2, and it's not all that pretty. So I'm trying not. I need to make it looser. Okay, let's make it looser. There. Hopefully that's better. What the heck was I talking about? Hawk Run Hollow. Oh, so the first time I do this, I'm going to try it through Google Meet. So if you don't have that downloaded, you might need to do that if you're planning on stitching with us. A couple of other things about it. You must be doing a Hawk Run Hollow piece in order, like I'd love to be able to stitch with everybody, but this is specifically for people who are working on a Hawk Run Hollow. And not just any Carriage House Samplings or a Kathy Barrick or a Marty Barrick. Like, it has to be Hawk Run Hollow. It doesn't have to be A Year at Hawk Run Hollow. It can be any number of the Hawk Run Hollows, but we're going to be doing Hawk Run Hollows. If you are sad that you're missing out because you don't have a Hawk Run Hollow in the running or you're not interested in them, I plan on doing other ones with other projects, but for right now, we're gonna start with Hawk Run Hollow. The first date is going to be Sunday, April 18th at 3 p.m. Eastern. I don't know, I know everybody's in different time zones. I don't know what that means for you in your time zone. I just know it works well for me because it's still daylight and I have to do virtual meetups on my laptop. And the camera quality is not as good. And so it's better if I do it in the sunlight versus my overhead stitching lights. Trust me on this. So we're gonna try 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, April 19th. Nope, April 18th. And so if you are interested in being able to get on that, do that stitch together, make sure that you fill out the Google form in the description box. It's going to say like Hawk Run Hollow stitch together sign up, I think is what it will be labeled. So make sure you get on that, and you need to let me know your name, and you need to let me know your YouTube name, and you need to, especially the most important thing is to give me the email address you want me to send the link to. And I will also talk about this in next week's video, so we'll have time to discuss. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me on Instagram. My Instagram is always in the description box below, or you can email me, but I don't check my emails as often, or you can just comment. So yeah, I'm hoping this works. I'm hoping that this is a good time. All right, I think that's all the administrative stuff I needed to talk about. Life updates. We had a lovely Easter yesterday. Michelle Bendy did a live sale on like a D-Stash live sale on her YouTube, and I spent like 3 hours watching that, which was kind of nice on my Easter. I did a little stitching and I wasn't able to snag anything, but that's okay. There's always next time. And I made we had some grilled pineapple chicken and some grilled pineapple. So some grilled chicken and some grilled pineapple. And then I made these lovely like garlic, paprika, roasted potato wedges. And the best thing is I made lemon cupcakes with a buttercream frosting. Oh my gosh, so good. And the second best thing is that my boys ended up not liking lemon cupcakes. So that meant more for me. I'm gonna have like dessert lemon cupcakes after my lunch all week. I'm so excited. They were delicious. We played a little Clue together as a family. I did not win. Usually I'm really good at Clue. I'm thinking, I've been if you've been watching since last May, very brain foggy, and the more that I hibernate in my house, the worse it gets. So I need the world to kind of open, I need my world to open back up so that my brain can start functioning normally again. I took note. I'm getting good at taking notes. So also, as of Friday, everyone in my house has had their first vaccination. So now we're just counting down the weeks till we get our second vaccines, which means for Mother's Day, I'm going to be able to be with my family. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to Mother's Day. Other big life update, my daughter, my oldest is my only daughter. This past weekend, she moved into a house that she's renting just a few houses away from me. She's like, hold on, I'm going to count in my head. She's like 5 houses away from me now. I'm so excited about that. So that was a huge thing. We spent a little bit of time helping her out this weekend. And yeah, I'm just so excited. I'll be able to like walk by her house and knock on her door. She probably won't want me to do that all the time, but I can if I want to and be like, hey, Bean, that's what we call her, Bean. We could go for a walk. That'll be so fun. I'm very excited about that. All right, so that's all that's been happening in my life. Not a whole lot of super interesting stuff. All right, so let's talk about stitching. We're almost 10 minutes in. It's totally time to start talking about some stitching. It is the beginning, the first time I'm filming in April, which means we are going to get our temperature tree update. I am stitching, hold on, I've got a floss mess going on here. The temperature tree by Stitch and Mommy. So the premise is that you stitch a leaf every day, depending on your high temps. Some people do a whole bunch of fancy stuff with their high temps and low temps and precipitation and all that jazz. But for me, it's just high temp. And I stitch mine every Sunday. I catch up on the week's temps. And then instead of showing you every single time a few leaves once a month, I show you the completed branch from the month before. So here we are. I am stitching the trunk in Gentle Arts Wood Trail. Hold on. Yes, Wood Trail by Gentle Arts. So that's the trunk and the branches. And I am using, Stitchin' Mommy has a different key for depending on like what, if you're somebody, if you live in an area where the temperatures are predominantly cold or predominantly hot or very varied. She's got a different key for all of that. I'm doing the varied temperatures key. So I finished the March branch. March was, there's a lot of like yellow in there. It was a really funny month. March is always kind of a funny month, right? Like it blows in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. So, I mean, there was a lot of cold temps in here, but then also a lot of warm. And then I started a little bit on April. We've got a few April leaves in there. So yeah, January, February, March is done. The April branch is finished and ready for leaves. And I have started up here on the May branch. So I've been, wow, I feel like I'm yelling. I've been, every Sunday when I catch up on the leaves, I also put a length of floss into the trunk and the branches. And so far that's been working. I haven't had to play like, oh my gosh, I'm starting a month and the branch isn't finished yet. So far that's working. I'm happy with that. And I'm kind of enjoying the Sunday routine. Last year I did the Granny Square Temperature Stitch Along by Carolyn Manning. And that one was a little more time intensive, and I tried not to let like more than 2 or 3 days go by, or else it took too long to catch up. But the leaves are really simple to stitch, so 1 day a week is enough to stay on track. Okay, then I worked a little bit more on WIPGO this month. WIPGO is a game that Jessie Marie Does Stuff created, and I always keep the info for that in the description box because I talk about it pretty much every video. And it's like bingo. And for April, the numbers that were called were number 3 and number 21. And number 3 for me is Forever and Ever by Carriage House Samplings. And I'm also using this for the hashtag Stitch Asia because the designer for Cottage Garden Samplings is of Asian descent. Vinny P.S. Tan. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but I love her. I love Carriage House Samplings. Not Cottage Garden Samplings. I do this all the time. Carriage House Samplings, Cottage Garden Samplings, and Country Cottage Needleworks are like interchangeable in my head. There's too many C's involved in samplings and houses and gardens and Cottage Garden Samplings. This was my New Year, New Start. So I have it on my WIPGO board 3 times. Once was to get a flower and a bird done, and the second time is to get a flower and a bird done, and the third time is to finish it. So it got called in January, which worked out perfectly because it was my New Year, New Start. So I got this flower and this bird done, and now it's been called for April, and I need to get this flower done and this bird. So I worked a little bit on it. Sorry, my thread is hanging out of it with the needle. Pretend it's not there. So here's where I'm at all together. And so I have the flower, the pink flower outlined, and I've started doing a little bit of fill-in. I love these flowers. So I'm gonna put this away for now because a few of my stitchy friends and I were chatting, and we decided to do a Barbara Anna April, which also works because my other WIPGO number that got called was my Tree of Magic by Barbara Anna. And we'll talk about that when I get it out. But yeah, so this might go away till the end of the month. Or I might not finish its goal. We'll talk about it. I've got thoughts involved. My WIPGO goals, I like to get them completed in the month they're called, but ideally I like to get them completed in the month they're called. But as long as they're completed by the end of the year, I'm okay. So yeah, that might get held off for another month because we'll see. We'll talk about it. All right, then it was Rachel Lasky's birthday. She is CT Stitcher on Instagram, and her birthday was April 1st, and she was starting the Gilmore Girls. Forbidden Fiber Co. had a Gilmore Girls kit that you could get. Somebody said, I forget who, I'm sorry. It might have been Mandy Parker, said that at some point, Forbidden Fiber Co. will be releasing the individual components for this, but because it was like an exclusive kit, they're going to keep it that way for a while. So I don't think that you can get this anymore, but you may be able to get it in the future. And the chart that came in it was the Raining Loreleis, which was designed by Forbidden Fiber Co. I love that. I am a huge Gilmore Girls fan. On Friday, we completed the final episode of season 7. So there are 7 regular seasons, and then Netflix did a 4-season, what do you call it? When it comes back out. I can't think of the word. Oh, it's gonna make me crazy. But so they did it like a 4-season mini series where you kind of caught up with the Gilmore Girls, what they're doing in their lives now. Anyway, I can't, oh my gosh, it's gonna make me crazy. Remake? Redo? Anyway, we finished the final episode of the regular series. And it was my 4th time, but it was my youngest, my 17-year-old's first time watching it. He really enjoyed it. And I was a little sad. I got a little teary. And then I just wanted to start it all over again next year. I'll start it all over again next year. We're going to watch the Netflix, the four episodes of the Netflix one, but they're not the same as the original seasons. Okay, anyway, I started this with Rachel on April 1st. I was going to hold it off for May and have it be one of my May starts. But I mean, it's hard to resist a birthday stitch along, right? So this is the kit fabric. It's Frozen by Forbidden Fiber Co. It's a 32 count opalescent. It's super pretty. And it's all the kit flosses. And my favorite, the floss around that octagon is all one floss, and so it's a variegated floss. It's called Monkey Underpants. Even if you're not a Gilmore Girls person, you need to get on your YouTube. I mean, you're already on YouTube. Stop this video and search Gilmore Girls Monkey Underpants. It'll be the best minute you've ever spent. I'm not steering you wrong here. Anyway. And the floss is very Monkey Underpants. So I didn't finish the umbrella. That's as far as I got. That was 1 day of stitching. And it's gonna go away for now. I don't know when I'm gonna get back to this, but April is too full for me to probably stitch on this anymore this month. So I know if I don't finish it this year, it's definitely gonna go on my WIPGO board for next year. So that was that. And then it was April 2nd. And so I'm doing Barbara, Anna, April. And if you guys want to do Barbara, Anna, April too, by all means, if there might be a hashtag. I need to make a note. Hold on. I need to find out if there is a hashtag for Barbara, Anna, April. Ah, that spells out ba. That's very spring-like. It should always be Barbara, Anna, April, because in April we think of lambs, and lambs say ba. we're gonna do that. Okay. If there's a hashtag, I'll have it below. I think I said I was gonna look that up last week and I didn't, but last week I didn't make a note and this time I did. I probably should get a highlighter too, but I don't have one around me. Anyway, I was enabled to start Dreaming Frida, which is a stitch along that you can get through Creative Poppy. And so it's Barbara Anna, and it's a 3-part stitch along. And it's gonna look, I think, a lot like Dreaming Girl. If you're on Instagram, you can't have missed Dreaming Girl. It's everywhere. And Michelle Bendy did the most amazing version of Dreaming Girl I've ever seen. It gives me goosebumps. Anyway, it's gonna be Dreaming Frida, and this was part 1. So you get a cactus and a cat and some flowers and some keys and stuff. And I decided to do this on the fabric of the month that came from Stitch Me last month. It was called Through the Stones, and I get the 20 count Aida, so it's like the size of a 40 count, which I like. It's very, very small. And this is where I got. So I am missing one of the DMCs that I need to, 2 DMCs. So I'm missing 2 keys here, and there's some sort of fluff and nonsense that I don't have stitched in. Oh, the center of the flowers is missing a color and the cat's eyes. So I gotta go to Michael's tomorrow and get that floss, but I love it. So this is a finish for now. I think the next part comes out on the 15th, which might be problematic for me because Cunning Cross Stitches Animal Crossing stitch alongs release on the 15th, and then I'm gonna be like, which one do I stitch? It's gonna get very crowded. The middle of the month is going to be very crowded for me, but we can talk about that next week. That'll be more relevant next week. I don't have to decide anything now. I do have to tell you though, this cactus and that cat are so, Barbara Anna is a genius. These flowers, oh my gosh. That was an enjoyable couple of days stitching those. I don't have a project bag for them yet. I need to just get a Ziploc bag because they've been like floating around and like on my craft storage table. One day I'm gonna go over there and a cat will have been up there and have hacked up a hairball or something on it, and that will not be good. Okay, and then next Barbara Anna is Tree of Magic. So that was my other WIPGO for this month. And the goal that I had to do was finish branch 4. So I don't have a good picture of it. This is all that came. There's 5 branches, and I called this one 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can't really see 5 down here. 5 is the biggest. So I have this several times on my WIPGO board, and each time is a different branch finish. Now I don't have branch 3 finished. That WIPGO hasn't been called yet. This is branch 3. So I did work on branch 3 because I thought I would get down to branch 4 and skip branch 3 to complete this month's WIPGO, but I can't. Because I stitch in hand and I stitch I think it's kind of bizarre. I haven't seen other people stitch like me. I don't use the sewing method, even though I stitch in hand. I still poke and stab, and I do it 2-handed. So like I have a hand underneath and a hand on top, and I kind of hold the fabric against me for tension. And because I hold the fabric against me, I like to stitch from the top down because I don't want the stuff I've already stitched to get fuzzed because it's being held against me, if that makes sense. I feel like there'll be friction. If I can help it, if I can avoid it, I try to stitch from the top down, and I try not to hold things I've already stitched against me. I couldn't really help, like obviously this gets held against me because I had a concern a few months ago that the fabric that came with the kit wasn't going to be big enough, like wide enough. So I needed to kind of see how that was gonna work. So I stitched down and over to double check. The whole point of that side story was that I couldn't skip 3 because then I would have been holding branch 4 against me when I stitched 3. Okay, so here's what I did stitch. I already had most of this side done. This is going to be a back stitched like bush thing, branch like this. So that'll get done after I finish the rest of branch 3. So I had some bug wings I had to finish. I don't know if they're bumblebees. They kind of look like bumblebees, but then these guys up here kind of look like bumblebees too. Maybe they're lightning bugs. Forest flies, is that a thing? I don't know. But they can't both be bumblebees. I mean, I guess they could. Maybe they're different. Like you're seeing one close up and one far away. I don't know. Anyway, they're bugs. And I put the wings on, and then I started over here. So trees and a cat with green eyes and more tree and a bird. And I started the house. I really wanted to finish that roof last night, but I got tired. I fizzled and I went to bed. So that is all my WIPs. Let me just make sure. I'm looking at my notes. Okay. So plans, I was going to talk about haul first, but we'll jump into plans. My plan, the game Anna SAL gets released every Monday. So the second part of the letter A, I usually show the game Anna SAL like every week, but because I'm off schedule trying to get on a Monday filming situation, I don't have it to show you this week, but the second part is released. I plan on working on that today and tomorrow. It usually takes me 2 days to get a part done, to get a release done. And then this will come back out. This month, I'm really hoping to get branch 3 and 4 done, which means I may not complete my Songbird series WIPGO goal. But that's okay, because here's what I'm thinking. If I get branch 3 and branch 4 done, then when branch 3 gets called, I can get out the cottage garden samplings one and work on it then. So I'll just sort of be replacing it. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it makes sense to me. If I can get back to the cottage garden samplings one, yay. But I really think it's Barbara Anna April. I'm gonna focus on my Barbara Anna. I'm gonna get branch 3 and branch 4 done and work on Dreaming Frida as the parts get released. I really was hoping to get another new start for Barbara Anna and pick out one of the ones in the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. But I don't think I'm gonna have time to do another new start. So, I mean, who knows? We'll see. Probably not though. So, is that all my plans? Game Anna SAL, Tree of Magic. Oh, and planning wise, I've been thinking about this all year, but I'm really starting to nail down my May plans. So a lot of people do something called Mania in May, and which involves starting a lot of things. And I am not one who likes to start a lot. The idea of having a ton of WIPs going gives me anxiety. So I don't want to start like 20 WIPs or 21 new starts or whatever. What I like to do is there are 5 weekends in May. One weekend will be an automatic new start. I don't have to complete any goals for that. But for the rest of the new starts, the week preceding the weekend, I will be hoping to get a finish or a really big goal completed. And then if I do, I can have a new start on the weekend. So there'll be 4 weeks of that in May. So there'll be 5 new starts, 1's a freebie and 4 are dependent on meeting some goals. And I think instead of calling mine Mania, which I'm really trying not to use Mania or even the word crazy very casually anymore. I have people who are close to me that struggle with mental illness. And so it just feels, for me, I'm certainly not telling you what you should be doing in your life, but for me, every time I do, I cringe a little bit inside. It feels very, like I'm being very flippant about something that's a real struggle for them. So I'm not going to use Mania, and it's fine if you are. This is not a judgment for you at all. But even then, Mania doesn't really, I feel, describe what I'm doing. So I'm going to call mine Motivated May. So I will be motivated all week to complete my goal so that I can get the new start. I feel like that works. It's going to be Motivated May, and you're welcome to do my version, or not, or it doesn't, if you want to join me, that's fine. But if you're doing traditional mania, that's fine too. Okay, so that was all my plans. I had a little bit of haul, and then I have a giveaway. So we're gonna do a giveaway. It's more like a pass the stash. I had a little 1, 2, 3 stitch order because I needed one floss. What is this? Williamsburg Red by Weekstyle Works. Williamsburg always makes me think of my parents. My parents got married in 1975. I'm born in 75. So, and they went to Williamsburg, Virginia for their honeymoon. That wouldn't have been my first pick, but whatever. Williamsburg always reminds me of my parents. So I needed this because I was missing it for the Cottage Garden Samplings one. So I should probably put that over here. I'm gonna put it in its bag now, or I'm gonna forget. There we go. Okay. And then because I'm not gonna just buy one floss, I decided to get a chart so that at some point, I'm very stuttery today. At some point, I plan on stitching all of these. So this whole series. So I was missing this one. Promise of Spring. I love this. I wish I was stitching this right now with the tulips and the robins. There have been robins like crazy everywhere in my area. We drove through, we have a park like 3/10 of a mile down the road from me, and we drove through it the other day. There had to have been like 40 robins all in one little like field. I don't know where they're all nesting, but they were all gathered in the field together. And then I got some fabric. I got 36 count agave Edinburgh linen. So it's Swigart. I don't know. I think it's just Swigart, a Swigart color. I don't think it's like a picture this plus. Anyway, it's a really pretty green. It is not showing up as green as it is. Oh, that's better. So it's like green, like I'm trying to think of like a green that it is. Pea green? Green bean green. It's green bean green. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I like to have options, right? Okay, so we are 30 minutes in and we're going to do our giveaway. I think that's all I had to say. Anything major? I think so. Trying to think of like what we talked about last time before I get to the giveaway. We talked about my hair. There were a lot of people. I had one person say, Pam, don't do it. You're going to damage your hair if you do a perm. And most everybody else was like, do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? I'm usually pretty adventurous with my hair. Like, I've cut it very short. I've done some fun colors. I always figure if I hate it, it'll grow out, right? It'll grow out. So I think I'm going to go for it, but I'm not going to do it until May because you have to sit for hours for a perm, and I don't want to be sitting in a salon right now until all my vaccines are taken care of. So I'm going to make an appointment for May, and hopefully we'll see some fun situation happening on my head in May. Anyway, we're going to do a giveaway. This is Gently Used. I stitched this in 2019. But I may have finished it in 2020. I think this was a 2019 start for me and a 2020 finish. And it is Boys and Bugs by Country Cottage Kids. It's Country Cottage Needleworks. I think they had a little like Country Cottage Kids series, of which this was chart number 6. And it's really cute. This was a fun stitch, but there have to be like, I don't know, 10 or 12 French knots in this, which you can do it. If you have never done a French knot before, that's okay. There are YouTube videos out there, and I have to watch them every time I do a French knot because I don't do them often enough to remember. Or you can be like me. I have started replacing French knots with beads. Either way. Anyway, it's a really cute stitch. If you would like to stitch this, There are a couple of things. First, you have to be 18 or over so that I can get your address and not be a creeper. Don't say giveaway or enter or like prize or anything that, any of those terms in your comment, I'll delete it. I don't want to draw in people who have no interest in cross stitch to my channel, and that, or crafting. Also, you have to fill out the Happy Mail form that'll be in the description box below. So there will be 2 forms in the description box. There will be the Happy Mail form for people who want things mailed to them, and there will be the form for the Hawk Run Hollow Stitch Together. So don't fill out the Stitch Together form if you're really looking to win, because I won't look in that form for winners, if that makes sense. There's not a place to put your address in the Stitch Together form anyway, so you'll know you're in the wrong place. And fourthly, to let me know that you want this chart, all you need to say is use the word bugs in your comments. B-U-G-S, bugs. I'm going to try to use the YouTube comment picker thing for the first time. Usually I write everybody's name down and I do a random number thing. I'm going to try the comment generator thing. So we'll see if that works for me, because I'm not really good with technology. Okay, that's it. That's all for me. I hope you guys all have a great week. Stay well, stay safe, get a lot of great stitching done, or knitting, or crafting, or whatever it is you do, quilting. Just have a great week. I will see you guys on Monday. Bye, everyone.